one of his prominent Republican presidential rivals, the former New Jersey governor, Chris Christie. He's here with me in the Situation Room. Governor, thanks very much for coming in.
My pleasure, Will.
You're a former federal prosecutor, a former U.S. attorney. Give us your thoughts on the likelihood the special counsel could actually secure a conviction of Trump.
Well, it's hard to say, Wolf. We haven't seen the indictment yet. And I've tried to be very careful about this, both on the classified documents case and also now this one. I want to see the indictment first. The key to what evidence he really has and what the basis of all this will be contained in that indictment. My sense is it'll be a speaking indictment, as we call it in the business, which provides a lot of detail so that you can really give folks a sense of what the evidence is that backs up the charges. So I think it's all speculation until we actually see what the grand jury returns, if they return something.
You assume they will?
I do. I don't think you send a target letter, at least in my experience. I never sent a target letter if I was not completely sure that I had put enough in front of the grand jury for them to return an indictment.
Yeah, we anticipate it could be within the next few hours or at least the next few days. That's what's going on. I want you to listen and watch what Governor Ron DeSantis told CNN about Trump receiving this target letter. Listen to this.
This country is going down the road of criminalizing political differences, and I think that's wrong. I do not want to see him. I hope he doesn't get charged. I don't think it'll be good for the country, but at the same time, I've got to focus on looking forward.
Would you trust a President DeSantis to go ahead and enforce the rule of law?
Look, based on what he just said there, it gives you concerns, doesn't it? I mean, look, no one's above the law. And the fact is that what's damaging to the country, and I think this is where Ron's getting it wrong, is Donald Trump's conduct. You know, everybody was complaining about the last indictment, a number of people in my party. But you can't complain about the indictment and not acknowledge that the conduct where you lie to your lawyers, where you show around classified documents regarding our intelligence activities, our military activities. Wolf, what that does is potentially put our troops at risk, potentially put our intelligence officers at risk who are out there doing dangerous things around the world. It's hurting them when he does that. And I absolutely believe, and I've said this before, I think the Hillary Clinton case should have been charged. If I were the U.S. attorney investigating that case, I would have charged it. And I think what Jim Comey and Loretta Lynch did was wrong. But you don't fix a broken justice system by continuing to give people passes based upon whatever their political party is. You do it by enforcing the law without fear, favor, or partisanship. That's what we should be doing. And what we should be focused on here is Donald Trump's conduct and whether or not, Wolf, that conduct is appropriate for somebody to be sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. I say it's not.
Should he drop out?
I don't think he should have run in the first place, but guess what? I don't care. I'm going to beat him.
I want you to listen to what DeSantis said today. He said it's suggested it's possible the FBI or DOJ, Department of Justice, could interfere with his campaign. That was the gist, I'm paraphrasing, the gist of what he said. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't know what basis he has to draw that conclusion. Look, we don't make our country better by continuing to rumor monger things. If Ron DeSantis is concerned that there's something in his background that would lead to DOJ or the FBI to be looking at him, that's probably something he should talk to us all about as he's seeking the presidency. If there's some investigative steps that he thinks were inappropriate that have been taken that we don't know about right now by the FBI or DOJ against him or members of his inner circle, then he should reveal that. Otherwise, stop speculating about this stuff.
A CNN analysis, this is interesting, shows donations to Trump's campaign actually spiked around his indictments, How much do you think these legal troubles he's facing actually boost his campaign?
Short-term gain, long-term pain. In the short term, what it does is people rally around their team, Wolf, and we've seen this happen many times before. When there's a crisis, you rally around your team, and that's what a lot of folks who have been supportive of Donald Trump are doing. But long-term, I think, if there are additional indictments to come, this is a lot of weight for anybody to be carrying around their neck as a general election candidate for President of the United States or as a primary candidate. And I think long-term, these charges are a real problem for Donald Trump because, not the charges, Wolf, because of the conduct. The conduct is the problem. And so I think in the short term, people rally around the flag. In the long term, I think it's going to be a problem.
I want you to listen to what Trump said yesterday in a radio interview, said how his supporters would react if he winds up going to jail. Listen to this.
Is it something that concerns you of the people making sure that they don't go out of their right mind if something like that happens? If that, for example, they do, say Jack Smith says, okay, I'm going to put Donald Trump in jail.
I think it's a very dangerous thing to even talk about.
Okay.
Because we do have a tremendously passionate group of voters, much more passion than they had in 2020 and much more passion than they had in 2016. I think it would be very dangerous.
How worried should law enforcement be about the possibility of Trump inciting more violence?
Well, look, I think anytime you have the history of what we saw on January 6th, law enforcement needs to learn from that and make sure they're prepared at any of these proceedings regarding Donald Trump or any of the people who might be charged along with him, that you might have some people who might want to act out violently because of it. I don't think we should be here worried about it, Wolf. I spent years in law enforcement. You don't prevent crime by worrying about it. You can prevent crime by acting. And what they need to do is be prepared. And if they are, then everyone will be safe and secure, and the justice system will continue the way it should.
Let's hope that happens. Governor, stand by.